The New York Times put out an article saying that I'm a Russian asset. This morning, a CNN commentator said on national television that I'm an asset of Russia. Completely despicable.
I think they've got their eye on somebody who's currently in the Democratic primary and are grooming her to be the third-party candidate. She's the favorite of the Russians. They have a bunch of sites and bots and other ways of supporting her so far. And that's assuming Jill Stein will give it up, which she might not, because she's also a Russian asset.
Podcast with David Plouffe, former Secretary of State, former candidate for the Democrats, saying that Tulsi Gabbard, a current candidate, is a Russian asset. Tulsi Gabbard firing back on Twitter. She may fire back live here on our show. Great. Thank you, Hillary Clinton. You, the queen of warmongers, embodiment of corruption and personification of the rot that has sickened the Democratic Party for so long, have finally come out from behind the curtain. From the day I announced my candidacy, there has been a concerted campaign to destroy my reputation. We wondered who was behind it and why. Now we know it was always you, through your proxies and powerful allies in the corporate media and war machine, afraid of the threat I pose. It's now clear that this primary is between you and me. Don't cowardly hide behind your proxies. Join the race directly. We will start directly there with this late-breaking news. Let's bring in our panel. Washington Post columnist Marc Thiessen, Joanna Maska, former aide to President Barack Obama, and Molly Hemingway, senior editor at The Federalist. Mark, this was a shock. We were planning to lead on with something else, and then suddenly it just came.
Yeah. Well, my question is, how does Hillary know? Did she find out from Fusion GPS? Did Christopher Steele give her a secret dossier that on Tulsi Gabbard? I mean, look, Tulsi Gabbard now understands how Donald Trump feels. He was called a Russian asset. He was called a Russian agent, and it wasn't true. So, you know, welcome to the party, Tulsi.
If Democrats were trying to somehow squelch Tulsi Gabbard's effort in the primary, this wouldn't seem to be the way to do it.
No, and I don't think it's responsible to call a member of our military, a veteran, a Russian asset. So I don't think that's a helpful comment, and I think you're going to see a lot of Democrats come out and say the same. I'm kind of surprised that she made the comment and that it made the podcast, but there it is.
Like you would have edited that out if you were David Plouffe.
I don't think he needs the attention, so yeah.
It was quite something.
Yeah, she's not just, I mean, she's currently enlisted in our military, and she enlisted after 9/11. This is a woman who is being called a Russian asset by Hillary Clinton because she has foreign policy views that differ from hers. And it is very reminiscent of what happened with President Trump. But it's also what happens when you don't hold people accountable for perpetrating the Russia hoax. That was something that was invented by the Hillary Clinton campaign with the Democratic National Committee. They secretly funneled money to create that operation. It got disseminated through the media. It was weaponized by the government. And no one's been held accountable for it. And in fact, she's still out there repeating these same conspiracy theories with different targets.
I mean, the theory is that Jill Stein, the Green candidate, was also paid by the Russians to get in there and take votes from Hillary Clinton. She is now saying, I would like to have a debate with Hillary Clinton. I didn't get that the first time in 2016.
She's still coming up with reasons why she didn't win. It's never
Hillary is.
Hillary is. Yeah, it's like never like, you know, I should have gone to Wisconsin. I should have gone to Michigan. I should have, you know, cared about people in the middle of the country who we were ignoring. So, you know, Hillary's got all sorts of things. But it also shows how unserious they are about the Russia threat. It's all a political game for them. You know, if after the Mueller report came out, if they really cared about the threat from Russia, they would have said, okay, Donald Trump didn't collude with the Russians, but this is a real threat. Let's do something together, Republicans and Democrats, to protect our democracy. And instead, they dropped it because, well, if it's not going to help impeach Donald Trump, they're not interested. And on what Molly said is, John Durham's doing his investigation. We still may get some responsibility, people held to account for what happened.
We should point out that Congresswoman Gabbard said originally, or her team said 6:30, so she's run a little bit late. If it does come on, we'll show it to you here on Fox. Meantime, Joanna, there is still fallout from the White House Chief of Staff and how it's being interpreted, what he said yesterday. Take a listen.
Mick had a moment of truth and then realized that that was not going to be good for the president and had to walk it back.
Mick Mulvaney was right. Look, we withhold foreign aid to influence foreign policy decisions all the time.
Whatever might have been gray and unclear before is certainly quite clear right now that the actions were related to getting some of the Ukraine to do some of these things.
I think he clarified it.
kind of clarifying what he said, and then he put out a statement yesterday afternoon trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of clarification. I mean, if I was under an impeachment inquiry, I would have message control. But President Trump has proven with his proactive communications that he's always keeping himself in the offensive position. Yesterday, he made Mick Mulvaney go out and do that. I don't think, that was a coincidence. He said, you need to go out here and deliver this really bad news that everyone is going to take poorly.
Well, not only that, but also say that the G7 is going to be at my place in Doral.
And that's the whole thing. And even the facts that he was using there, I was at the Camp David G8. I helped plan it. And I remember the positive feedback we got from world leaders who got that intimate feeling at Camp David, which is an extraordinary sight. To throw that under the bus and say that it wasn't a good summit when literally the UK duplicated that summit with Loch Earn the next year, it was just factually inaccurate. I knew he, was thrown out there without much information, but it seems like he was put up for a very long time and said things he probably regrets.
We're going to do winners and losers, but your thoughts on this day, the fallout from that, but also we learned that George Kent, who testified on the Hill, said that they warned about Hunter Biden and this Ukraine company,
yes,
2015.
So you're seeing a lot of this with the testimony that's being provided. It's not matching up with what Democrats are hoping for. Even finding out that people care about when we give $400 million in taxpayer aid, we want it to go to a country that doesn't have corruption problems, is not a high crime and misdemeanor. Learning that there was a whistleblower about Hunter Biden and that a member of the Biden staff pushed back on that is not what the Democrats are hoping for when they're trying to go after Trump.
You know what? I don't have a lot of time, so we're going to stay positive very quickly. We're only going to do winners. Let's go. Winners down the row.
Oh, but my loser is my loser is you and me and all of us who had to watch the Democratic debate instead of watching the Nationals win the pennant.
No.
All right, he chooses
You don't have to. But my winner is Charles, because Charles Krauthammer would have loved this moment.
There you go.
I am so happy. I only wanted to do a winner, so that's so lovely. It's the Carters. The Carters have now been married for 26,766 days, making the longest marriage of a presidential couple, just overtaking George H.W. Bush and Barbara Bush. And I have to say, so many congratulations, because I love a happy marriage.
Winner.
And my winner is you for your new book that is coming out, 3 Days at the Brink, which sounds
she's going to be back on the panel so often.
I shouldn't have made you my loser.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. 2-week tour coming up, 12 cities, so check it out. Panel, thank you very much. When we come back, notable quotables.